What do you think is the highest grossing movie of all time?
The Titanic.
I'm going to say Star Wars.
Avatar.
Yes, indeed. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Do you remember liking it?
Yes.
Yes.
Not really.
What do you like about it?
I don't know, there's a lot of colours and blue people.
I don't really remember anything about it, actually.
Do you remember any of the characters' names?
Surely I do. No.
No.
Yes, but don't ask me to name them.
Can you name any of them?
No.
I want to say Sully. I'm thinking of Monsters Inc. maybe.
Do you remember any specific plot points?
Nah, but it's like that animated movie.
I remember the line, "You're not in Kansas anymore, you're on Pandora," right at the start of the movie. I think that was at the start of the movie. And I remember hair sex happening.
When you think about Avatar, or if someone mentions Avatar, what's the kind of first thing that comes to mind? What's the first thing you think of?
The flowers that are alive in the forest.
The flowers, pretty flowers.
Very pretty flowers that move.
I remember there being lots of lights, but they're trees. And blue people.
The figure of the female avatar, the colour of the skin and the physique.
Blue people, blue people, blue people, blue people, blue people, blue people.
It would be no exaggeration to say that December 10th, 2009 was one of the most important days in cinematic history. On this day, James Cameron's Avatar was released and within one single year made more money than any other movie in history. Yet, despite the film's massive success, it seems to have slipped from our minds like cheesy topping on a particularly greasy pizza. Memorabilia shops are filled with the merchandise of less successful films, and stars of decades-old blockbusters are wheeled out year after year. But when was the last time you heard the name Sam Worthington? Just the star of the most successful movie ever made.
The most exciting thing is, it is my performance. This thing walks and talks and acts like me.
Movies get forgotten all the time. Even massive, year-defining blockbusters eventually move over for the next big thing. What's just so fascinating about Avatar is the enormous success and the enormous impact that it had, and how brief that impact was.
We will send them a message that this is our land.
Back in the early 2000s, 3D technology was pretty meh. And audiences were like, whatever. And then Avatar released, and the 3D and the CGI were hella dope. There is absolutely no doubt that on release, Avatar contained the most technologically advanced CGI ever put to screen. The level of realism that they managed to achieve over a decade ago is absolutely mind-boggling. The world of Pandora is beautiful and fully realized and immersive, to the point where there were reports of people feeling depressive symptoms that they couldn't live in the world of the movie. Avatar is escapism perfected. Escapism from this cold, lonely, brutal, late-stage capitalist hellscape that we unlucky meat sacks have been thrust screaming into. Who wouldn't want to be whisked out of their failing bodies into a rich and connected community who worship a scientifically provable god, be the chosen one, fly, and fall in love with a princess? The fantasy is just so blatant. There's no nuance or subtlety here at all. The message is basically,
we live in a society.
And that
Society
is objectively bad. Honestly, it's not so hard to imagine why people felt so miserable coming out of this movie. You know, it must be difficult to come out and find yourself in the world that the movie's just spent 2 hours demonizing.
This is why we're here. Unobtainium. Because this little gray rock sells for 20 million a kilo. That's the only reason.
Pandora is beautiful, but lacks any real substance or depth. The movie was a great entry into this world, but if it was to have any real staying power, it needed to progress beyond, ooh, pretty, into a fully realized, nuanced, and interesting universe. But instead, the story is completely predictable from the get-go. The acting is bad, and the script is even worse.
You see? You see? I mean, they're just pissing on us without even the courtesy of calling it rain.
But this is all due to the fact that Avatar was made first and foremost as a tech demo, and as a narrative second. It exists to show audiences of 2009 the very cutting edge of CGI in 2009. They used the CGI in incredible ways to create a beautiful and convincing world. The design of the native fauna and flora of Pandora is really fucking cool. And the sound design does a fantastic job of selling that these animated creatures are interacting with the real world.
Guys, whoa. By the numbers. Jake.
But there's just no way that over decade-old effects are going to have anywhere near the same impact on audiences that they did back in 2009. And so, with the main draw of the film steadily eroding over time, and no interesting characters or story or plot to fall back on, is Avatar doomed to steadily fade from memory? Eventually knocked from its pedestal by the next big thing, its world, its language, and its fans forgotten? Of course not. There are 4 more of the damn things on the way.